Today's video, we're going to talk about Google Ads call recording drawbacks and why specialized call tracking programs like Callrail or call tracking metrics are better than the default free call tracking option that Google Ads provides their advertisers. Now, naturally, Google Ads call tracking system for tracking whether somebody calls when they get to your website itself is what we're talking about here, is better than nothing. It's a lot better than nothing. However, why settle for only half the results you can get from Google Ads at the end of the day, when a $50 a month call tracking program will get you the other half of the results? And it really does matter that much, because Google Ads system is all driven off of machine learning and AI and algorithms nowadays. And the data that they get about who buys from you and who doesn't buy and who responds and who doesn't respond really at the end of the day drives most of your ad performance, because things aren't as simple as just bidding on a certain keyword and you either show up for that keyword or not anymore. If you're bidding on the keyword red shoes, they look at the 1,000 different people who search for red shoes and decide if your ad should show up or somebody else's ad should show up based upon prior people who clicked through after showing your ad for red shoes and then called or not, or bought or not. You know, I know red shoes is like a product, and a lot of you guys don't need call tracking for a product like that, at least. You use call tracking for any product that you're selling over a couple $100, because the phone call data will give you other micro conversion data to give you overall results that will be better than what you could get through just purchase tracking through your shopping cart alone, which is a whole separate subject, or at least for upfront near term. Okay? So, with that said, I'm going to tell you why Callrail is worth the money, why you're going to get the other half of the results, and you'll have, basically what you need to make this decision for yourself. If you're using Google Call Tracking now, why you should upgrade it to using upgrade it to use the software. And if you don't use call tracking at all, why you should darn well start doing that on top of everything else. That's what your current situation is like. So with that said, you may have asked yourself, why do I need a call tracking software when Google allows you to track calls for free? Obviously, I run into it all the time at our ad agency. Corey, why do I have to pay $50 a month for Callrail? I don't want to have to pay $50 for Callrail. We got XYZ Ring Central to track, where we can track how many calls are coming in. And that's, literally, to me at least, it's the dumbest thing you could possibly say. But everybody doesn't know what I know necessarily about call tracking and how the call data plays into your results. And over half of the value of running ads in the first place and what you're spending on ads in the first place goes into building data in your account, because the more data you have, the better the results get, for the reasons I talked about earlier. So, but what I did here is I put a list of things here that other benefits on, if that wasn't already enough for you, why you actually want to use Callrail. Callrail, I keep harping on Callrail. I don't get paid by Callrail, by the way. It's just the software that we use at our agency for all of our clients' accounts, and we didn't just randomly pick because we get a referral commission for referring people there. It's legitimately the best software. And even if they did pay us, I'm not using some bullshit software that's going to get our clients less results, because we would just have clients who stay with us less time and we'd lose more money anyway. It's legitimately the best call tracking software. In some instances where we can't use Callrail, like if we're in a different country where it doesn't support it, call tracking metrics is going to be our second best option for call tracking provider. The main reason why Callrail being better, it's a little bit more reliable, as we found, but that's not really the main issue, as is Callrail has a lot more features and functionality built within it. Okay? A lot more stuff you can do with it at the end of the day. And as it comes to software, not just with call tracking software, it does not pay to get the cheaper option that's not as well widely used, because the top software in a space has the most fault tolerance built within it. They have more money to invest into making the product better. And for something as mission critical as your phone's working, you don't want to be taking no shortcuts there. and calls not coming in. Not to say Callrail is perfect. It's not. Even if they miss 1-2% of your calls, you're still not going to, it's not no reason to not use call tracking, because you're going to lose way more money in terms of lack of data or less data, not having call tracking data feeding into your ad account because of what I explained earlier. So anyway, here's the list. Now, first thing is the least relevant to people who don't care about results the most, which is offline conversion tracking. With Callrail, if somebody calls, you can track whether that call turns into a sale or even just a good quality lead if you want to go there, and then import that information back to your ad account, okay, through something called offline conversion tracking. You can do it through uploading a spreadsheet about the customers you got from your leads coming in, or you can do it through their API automatically. If you're using Google's call tracking systems, they don't give you the GCLID code. There's no dashboard to say this call turned into a sale and then they spent this much and whatever. You can only do that through Callrail. That doesn't sound like you need it per se. It's just another one of those things that people try to convince themselves they don't need it, but because it makes them feel uncomfortable, that they're lazy, or they're short in their thinking. Reality is, I love that, because then I'm the only person in a lot of spaces who will do it and gives me all the revenue and all the profit. But you want to track your leads all the way to a sale, and you want to import your sales data into your ad account, because the ads are going to be 3 times at least more profitable in the long run, being able to know exactly what's driven you the most profit, because universally the cheapest calls you can get, if you're optimizing for cheap calls, aren't going to be your highest profiting calls. That's just how the math works out, because it's a bidding system that Google has. Naturally, people are going to be wanting to bid a little bit more, so therefore the click cost is going to be more, therefore the lead cost is going to be higher for somebody looking for sewer drain opening repair versus plumbing services. Given the average job size on one is $3,000, another one is at $200. And you got to understand what the value is of the calls coming in to get and extract the maximum value out of Google Ads, assuming that's what you care about, which you should. But even the micro nuances there, understanding the difference between the value of drain opening services and sewer drain opening services, being one's 10 times more valuable than the other, that's like legitimately something valid from that in particular space. What you know and the competition don't know gives you the position to be bidding higher and get a larger market share out of what's super profitable, and therefore you have a superpower, essentially, where you can do stuff other people can't do, and you build up a certain amount of data in your account over time. You become unstoppable in terms of gobbling up massive click share and therefore market share in your market, because you know exactly where it's worth spending 2, 3, 4 times as much for a click, because there's 10 times the profit from those clicks versus other clicks. Anyway, I think I made my point. So you can't do that now. Also, Google only has their call recording for 30 days. That might be good if you're very astute as to understanding when to go check your calls, to know the quality of the calls you have coming in, to make sure your ads haven't went off the rails for some reason. But as things happen, life happens, you forget to do it for a month. Now you don't have the last month's worth of data. Me personally, I love the fact that I can pull up any data from any time range and compare the calls that I had now versus what I had before to do any kind of long-term campaign planning or whatever. And more importantly, going back to the offline conversion tracking thing, I have that data available, because I'll go back and listen to whether a call converted into a sale or not, or it was just a good quality lead, so I can give that back to Google on my schedule and not worry about a call expiring because it's off the system because it's been too long. The other benefit, third-party data. Do we all really want to let Google decide how good our ads work? Because with smart bidding, we're telling Google we're willing to spend more if we can get more results, and then them telling us if the results were good. So therefore, giving so much the whole keys to the kingdom just to Google, because naturally, I want, if I can at least, a third party telling me how many calls I'm getting and using that as my single source of truth versus Google telling me how many calls they got me from their own advertising. For obvious reasons, I won't go into detail on that. But that may sound, even if Google, assuming you say Google could never do any wrong, right? There's bot calls where, you got crawlers that go on the web, that go to your website, see the number, call it, to try to sell you a vacation package or whatever. When those calls come in, you don't obviously, that muddies up your data, right? And so unless you got the call recording turned on and you're listening to your calls within the first 30 days of the call, then naturally, Google might have tracked a call, but it's not the right call, and therefore, it's giving you false data, if you will. Callrail as a side, by the way, even if you don't have time to listen to your calls, because naturally with Google, you at least could say, hey, if the call isn't at least 30 seconds, don't count it as a conversion. That certainly does help weed out these so-called bot calls, which you can also do on Callrail. But Callrail also has AI intelligence in their systems where you could say, if the call has the word book or schedule or how much or whatever you want as far as keywords, it will track that as a conversion and then pass that, so-called conversion back to Google, so that the smart bidding and the campaigns that are optimizing for more leads for you will only optimize for the calls that have those keywords in it, which Google doesn't have that as a part of their system as well. So Callrail with no human interaction can optimize much better for you using the Callrail data versus the Google data, which has a lot of bot calls in it. So there's that. Also, you can't use local numbers with the Google tracking system. We would know through our own case studies, which you could cross-reference this online if you look deep enough. You don't have to just rely on my information, which you should, but you don't have to. If you have a local number for a local business that's doing like home services, by having the phone number look like a local number versus a 800 number, you're going to have at least 15% more conversions. Why? Because one of the things they always want to know when they get to your site right away is, are you really local? Do you cover my area? Ultimately, and even if you say you're local to that person, if the phone number is an 800 number, they're going to question it just a little bit. So why would you want to throw that extra bit of results away by not having a local number for every person who gets to your page? And legitimately, if you target more than one service area more than one area code, you should have unique phone numbers that you have as far as tracking numbers for each area code to get the full amount of results. It's just turnkey free results, which once it's set up, it comes and it comes and it comes. Why would you not want that? So that's a benefit in itself. You have the bot filtering. Going back to the bots, Callrail has very intelligent systems that will let you weed out bots naturally, and it's not just on or off. You could actually have a challenge feature, which when somebody calls in, they have to press 1 before the call connects. You can have that set up for every single call that comes in, or just calls that Callrail has picked up as potentially as being a bot. Because the worst thing for your Google ad results, as I mentioned before, is not having enough data. Even worse than that is false data that isn't the right. The data itself is muddied. It doesn't have true data about what's really conversion, what's not. And so if you get in the bot calls, it's going to screw up all your campaign progress, not knowing what was a real call versus a non-real call. So the challenge feature, even though it does add some friction to the process, you will lose some conversions. Even if it's 10% of your calls that come in and get not weeded out, the fact that you don't have call data negates all that. You're going to lose more just by not having call tracking altogether whatsoever. And through Callrail's challenge feature, it'll make sure every call that you get every call that's counted by Google Ads is a legitimate call. And you can also there's some nuance to it, so you can only challenge certain people that look like a bot. So you really don't have to have that for every single user either as well. So there's that. Also, there's automatic call scoring. So I talked about the AI call scoring where certain keywords in a call, you can have that passed back to Google Ads as an actual legitimate conversion and a call that you would like to get in the future. But on top of that, you can actually, there's next to each call that comes in on your call dashboard on Callrail, you can thumbs up it or thumbs down. The calls you thumb up, it will actually send to Google Ads as a legitimate conversion that you're trying to get more of. And there's that feature as well. And so all you got to do once a week, once a month is go there and say, just thumbs up the ones that were actually good. And then the ad system that Google has will optimize for what you verified as good calls. Can't do that with Google's call tracking system. Then there's the call handling features. The Google Voice number can only forward to one number. What if you want to, which you can obviously add a secondary layer to the system and still get this, but Callrail has built within it, I love the shotgun blast feature, where if a call comes in, it'll fire out to 15 sales guys, and the first sales guy that gets it is the guy that gets it. And you tell all the sales guys that that's how the system works, so they'll answer the phone with the least amount of rings, and therefore your conversion rate on your calls goes up higher, because every ring you have increases the likelihood that the call is going to be abandoned, and you end up making less money. That's another Callrail. It's just another side perk of having Callrail that you're not going to have with the Google call tracking. And then, which you would, if you want it, you have to actually pay more money for having even another software to be able to get. Which would still be worth getting, given that the biggest thing that I see at our firm, why people don't make money with their ads, it's not that the ads didn't work, at least with me working on it and developing the strategy. It's the fact that they can't answer the damn leads in a time where time is of the essence. A lot of clients, it just blows my mind how they think they're just not going to answer the phone, and then the next day they could call a person back and just forget about it. I mean, it depends on the market. If you're in an e-commerce market, you can call a person back within 15 minutes and it's fine. If you're in home services market, if you don't answer that phone on the first ring, they're hanging up and they're calling somebody else. You've pissed your money away. So, and then what happens is they have a secretary answering all the phone calls, not only just the Google ad calls, but also all the other calls. Somebody calls in, they're talking to somebody about, an unpaid invoice, and then the Google ad call goes to voicemail. They piss that money away. It's hard enough to make money as is with Google ads with everything else going right. You add in the fact that a third or half of the calls don't get answered immediately, you've already handicapped yourself so much you cannot make money anymore. And it irritates people when I tell people these simple facts sometimes, because they say, well, we only have so many resources here, but we can't. Well, okay, well then just don't do Google ads then. The other person you're competing with in your market will make the millions of dollars off the ads, and you won't make it because you don't have the resources to be able to have somebody answer the phone if the primary person the call is supposed to go to can't answer the phone all the time, which they can't legitimately. And my response to that is okay, great. You cannot afford a secondary person to answer the call. Then you answer the call yourself, because it's that valuable. And when you've got so many calls that you don't want to do it anymore, spend the money that you're making on top of what you were making before to hire a second salesperson to answer the damn phone. Because there's no scenario where letting half of your calls go unanswered like that where it makes sense. So that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully this video made a lot of sense for you. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves a comment or question on my channel here, usually within 24 hours time. If you're looking for the best information on YouTube as well as online about how to make money with ads, to make millions of dollars a year with your ads, this is the channel you want to subscribe to, as it's coming from somebody that just does ad strategy all day long on dozens of ad accounts to give you the winning information on how to make money with ads. And it's way better than anything else you're going to find online from people who don't effectively do what I do, managing the amount of accounts that I manage. So therefore, you want to subscribe, and you want to subscribe right now. Okay, and then furthermore, I have a blog. If you like my channel, you're going to love my blog. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog with step-by-step advice on how to be able to make money with ads. And there's and really, really useful information there as well. I run an ad agency. We do not charge our clients any fees unless we can increase the profits on their ads in excess of what our fees are. So with that, we have a unique agency that nobody else can make a guarantee or an offer like that, of which we are looking for new clients that we know we can get great results with and from. So we don't work with just any client, but we are looking for clients that we can get great results. If you want to see if we could potentially work together and get an estimate of how much results we can get for you doing the strategies we talk about on this channel apply to what you're doing, reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com and I'd be more than happy to look over your stuff and give you some estimates to see how much results we can get for you. If you're not looking to work with an ad agency per se, but you still want to shortcut your way to success, we can actually get you a template. If we worked in your niche market before, we have different templates available for the markets that we worked in that you can literally copy and paste everything we've developed for your market already into your ad account. All the ads, landing pages, campaigns, all of it, and get the same results we have gotten in your market, having run ads for years in that market already, without none of the work, none of the money that we had to spend to actually get it. So if you're interested in shortcutting your way to success for a very low price and for what we sell, the winning information in your niche area already, we have that as well. So if you're interested in that, you can also check in with us. We got people starting whole different businesses with these templates, by the way. If you want to start a business and have it be as sure of a winner as you possibly can get, start with a template that we know works to sell XYZ item that you can easily get from China if you wanted to start an e-commerce business, or if you want to sell leads, you can sell leads knowing that the template we have is going to get a lead for very cheap rates in that market already. So, which we got several people doing already now. So if you're interested in any and all that, you can also reach out to me, guaranteeppc.com. But I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later.